Call to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We need a motion to excuse Mr. Shalhoub to Missouri Baptist graduation.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Welcome and introductions.
Randy Gilman, Assistant Superintendent, Elementary.
Tammy Cardona, Assistant Superintendent, Secondary.
April Meckel, board member.
Bob Grunwald, board member.
Judy Turney, Board Secretary.
John Stewart, Chief Financial Officer.
Declan Fitzpatrick, Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
Kelly Brock, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources.
Carol Yacht, board member.
Michelle Chamberlain, Director.
Crystal Hargis, Vice President.
Nisha Patel, Superintendent.
Judy Smith, Board President. We need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 20th, for the April 20th meeting.
Motion, Chamberlain.
Second, Yacht.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Approval of the agenda for May 4th.
Motion to approve the agenda for May 4th.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we go on to 3.1, Superintendent's comments.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here on a nice, lovely, rainy evening. So that's always good to know when people come on weather like this. This week is pretty special, I would say, out of any other year, or any other week, because we are recognizing a lot of staff members this week. And I want to make sure I don't forget any specific group, but in particular our teachers this week. It's National Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you for all that you do, and we're trying to do a lot of, I know JP, I want to thank you for doing a lot of things on social media as well to highlight all of our wonderful teachers. On May 1st, we had National Principals Day, so thank you to all of our building principals for getting us through this trying year with your leadership. We have School Nutrition Week this week as well, and then tomorrow is National Nurses Day. So a lot of reasons to celebrate a lot of people. So thank you for always going above and beyond, especially this year, which has brought challenges that none of us even could have thought of. So thank you for all of your leadership and your dedication for getting us through all of it. And then another note I do want to talk about is when we talk about challenges this year, when you think back, and it's kind of hard to think back, but last summer we were trying everything we could to have a normal start to the school year. We planned for a normal start, and then all of a sudden we had to pivot because of our community transmission rate, and then we said we're going to go hybrid. Once we were in hybrid for a while, then came another huge change, and then we started trying to get back to normal somehow, and brought us back for 4 days. And then we switched the 4 days to 5 full days at the elementary level. And the whole time we did that, one of the reasons I truly believe we were able to keep transmission low in our district was because of our mitigating factors. And one of the biggest mitigating factor that helped us in our journey was the masks. And I know that there are people with different opinions when it comes to mask wearing. But you guys, I have to say thank you for getting us through this entire year by doing what was right in terms of CDC, Jefferson County Health Department, the state, and scientists and doctors. The masks truly have helped us keep our transmission rate down. And so as we approach summer and we think of August and what next school year looks like, naturally we're going to start talking about masks. As we get more people vaccinated, what's going to happen? Are we going to require masks again? I wish I had the answer for you right now. Just like this entire year, you've been very understanding and patient And one of the things I respect the most about this community is that no matter what differences we've had, we've been able to respect one another's perspectives on different topics like masks. So as we look into the summer, well, before we even look into the summer, I'm going to ask for the community one more time to be patient and to please finish strong for the next, I don't even know, 18 some odd days with us keeping our masks on. And I know we're getting some emails and we're getting quite a few phone calls about this, but again, we have done such a good job the entire school year that let's finish strong for the next 18 days. Then when we close that chapter, we can start looking at summer school. We're already having these conversations. I've been in touch with our health department. In fact, last night I was texting our health director with questions about this. Our Jefferson County superintendent's groups are talking about what do we do for the summer and what do we do for the fall. We can't predict what's going to happen, but we can at least try to make tentative plans. Right now, one of the things that we all agreed on with the health department's guidance, which is one thing we've done the entire year is follow their guidance, is that if everyone has masks on, we don't have to quarantine. And the reason for that is because we want to keep kids in school. And everyone's wearing masks, and if you look at our data dashboard, the number of quarantines is down because we're using masks as a mitigating factor. The thing that changes that is if we were to even have the conversations if we go optional with masks, if one person doesn't have a mask on and that, for example, and that person ends up testing positive, then even the individuals around them that have masks on would have to quarantine. And this is guidance from not only the health department, but the Department of Senior Services and DESE. And that's currently. Now that may change over the summer, we don't know. So those are things that we have to really look at before making a decision about what to do with masks. But I wanted you guys to know we are having the conversations. We are looking into all the different ways this is going to impact us. And we will come up with a decision as soon as we can. But right now, I'm just going to ask for your patience again to finish the next 18 days strong with our masks. And then we will communicate what we're going to be doing for the summer and obviously with the return to school in August. So again, I know I'm sitting here one more time, but thank you for your patience and your grace, and let's have a great rest of this school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. We have 3.2 board member and cabinet reports. Dr. Gilman.
All right, as Dr. Patel mentioned, the Appreciation Week, principals, teachers, nutrition workers, and nurses, those really were our frontline people as we went through this year. So never before has there been a year where a thank you has been more appropriate. So a big thank you to all of those groups. It's good to see Kathy Han here this evening. She's going to be recognized. I'd like to thank Dr. Bain and Phyllis from Missouri Alliance for Arts Education for being here for that. And at the elementary, we are in full MAP testing mode. We have a team of people that do quality assurance visits, and so I've been to several elementaries and seen the testing sessions. And it's good to see our students are working really, really hard on that test. So I'd like to give a shout out to them. And our pre-K through 8 summer school registration closes May 19th. So don't delay if you're thinking about heading that direction. Thank you.
So I too would like to start by thanking all of our principals, our teachers, nutrition workers, and of course our nurses for all of their hard work this year. I have a lot for secondary, so I'm going to try to go through these really quickly. So first of all, we've been recognized as the best community for music education, which is something that's happened for several years. And I can tell you as a former principal at Seckman Middle School, about 50% of our students at Seckman Middle School when I was there were in band or choir. So I mean, that says a lot about the music programs we have in our building. So great kudos to all of our band and music teachers. One of our former students from Fox High School, I noticed this today, Ashley Ellis, She graduated, I think, in 2015, but she has set the all-time home run leader at SEMO at college. So how incredible is that, right? To be able to see news from former students, that's awesome. And then the MSBA John T. Belker Memorial Scholarship, one of the Fox High School students, Connor Liebman, actually received that scholarship. So congratulations to him on that. We also at Fox High School have a National Merit Scholar recognition for a Fox High School junior, Charlotte Horning. Again, a great honors for her. The Seckman High School and Fox High School Palms actually attended nationals in Orlando at the end of April, and Fox High School JV squad are national champions. So how cool is that? And there were many other awards for all the different dance teams. But the coolest thing is that the Fox High School and Seckman High School Palm squads received the Go Be Great award, which is really for teams that exemplify leadership, exemplify what it's like to be a dancer, an athlete, a role model. So how awesome is it for our kids to go and be at a national competition and be recognized for that? And then Seckman High School is also has 9 students that were named to the 2021 Jefferson County Honor Band. So again, that all feeds into that, why we're noticed as the best community for music education. So lots of awesome things going on at the secondary level.
That is good news. Thanks, Tammy. First, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Hahn on her award, or Han, as she is receiving this evening. Thank you for all you do for the students in the district. Second, I'd like to say how wonderful it is to see so many events taking place that did not take place this time last year. Events like prom and awards, sports, field trips, field day, and so many others. I know our parents are not allowed to attend these events, but it is a step in the right direction because if you remember, these events were canceled altogether last year. I'm glad we're finding ways for our children to participate, even if we as parents are not allowed. However, that being said, I feel as though we as a district need to discuss and create guidelines for these events to take place so that it is fair for each school and parents would perhaps be allowed to attend a few things. At the moment, schools are not unified on rules, guidelines, or space. It is frustrating to parents, and this breeds gossip, anger, and misunderstandings. Thank you, Dr. Patel, for all your thoughts and communication this year going forward, and you have been a fierce leader, so we thank you for that. I believe we need to finish this school year with masks. We have a few weeks left, and students and staff have chosen their avenue of learning, teaching, and working based on the wearing of masks. I would like to discuss masks for summer school. Perhaps we can send a survey out, one for staff and one for parents, on their beliefs regarding masks. This would give us a more clear picture of what people believe and want. Then we can discuss the results. I am interested in discussing optional masking in the fall with Dr. Frigo once he gets here. We all want to know what will happen in the fall, but the time to make that decision is not now based on several factors. And last, parents and staff, I hear your thoughts and concerns on both sides. I will say that should masks hopefully become optional, we as adults need to be good role models with our attitudes and opinions by teaching our children to respect each other's decision and what they choose. Let us not forget that an incentive for our children to choose to wear masks is that they would be less likely to have to quarantine if all parties have masks on. So please bear with us and respect everyone's opinion regarding this matter. And let us finish this year strong and really applaud our students and staff for being so amazing in this unknown year.
I'd just like to say what a tremendous year we've survived, particularly the COVID problem, which it seems to be we're weathered the storm with only 18 days of school left. And so that's been a monumental task that central office, principals, teachers, everyone connected with the school has been part of making that work for our students and keeping students in school. So I just like to thank the joint effort by all of the staff and teachers, custodians, nurses, all those people in the district that have helped keep us moving and keep us rolling this trying year.
So I know we're recognizing several groups, but I specifically want to mention our food service folks and say thank you to them and all the hard work that they've done this year. I know it's not been easy, and distancing in a kitchen that's probably undersized to begin with in some of our buildings is not easy, it's just not been easy. And so I just want to say thank you for all your hard work and dedication. The other thing I'd like to update the board on is specifically the projects going on at Antonia Elementary and Merrimack Heights Elementary. So as you know, both of those have some renovations and some additions going on. The construction documents specifically for the additions are now complete at Antonia Elementary and at Merrimack Heights. The permitting process is currently underway with Jefferson County, and the bid documents will be available to contractors in mid-May for bids. The design team members continue to communicate regularly with administration and with building principals. So specifically the bid timeline that we're looking at for those addition pieces is that the advertising is going to take place within the next week. Bid documents going to be available May 12th. Then there's, of course, you have to have those out there for a couple of weeks as far as actually advertising. There's going to be a pre-bid meeting in May, a little later in May anyway, and then hopefully for the June meeting we will have documents or bids coming for your approval from the board. So then those projects could get started a little bit later in the summer, maybe very early in the fall. But so that's how the additions are going. As far as the renovation specifically at Antonia Elementary, phase 1, that's going to occur this summer. So preparations are continuing for the summer renovation work. In fact, we just had a pre-construction meeting today at Antonia Elementary with IFS, who's the contractor that the board awarded the bid to in March, I believe. And then some of the subcontractors and other folks were there today too to talk schedule. JP, if you could show, speaking of schedule, here is, and I know you can't see it, you can't read it. It's a 8.5 by 11 that's trying to be sized down to fit on the screen. So you're not gonna be able to read it very well. But the work is HVAC and lighting upgrades in portions of the existing buildings, or the existing building. The permits have been secured and equipment delivery. This is the direct purchase equipment the board approved before. I think at the end of February even, is expected in early July. Work on the site, if you see those big blue bars all the way on under the dates in week 1, right there. So June 1, that is when work starts. The last day of school is the previous Friday, which is May the 28th, I believe. And then we have the 3-day weekend, and there was even one of the contractors today in the meeting was like, can we get in there Saturday? So, work is ready to go, and it's going to be moving. It's a 10-week schedule that's laid out there, and down to the left are just different portions of the project and how many days it's expected to take. But it's a 10-week project, of course. There's time built in because, sometimes there's rain delays and other types of delays. But initial schedule is a 10-week schedule, which would put it completing punch lists right along the week of August 2nd, so a couple weeks before school. So we've got a couple weeks of cushion built in there, and also Ameren energy efficiency rebate applications have been submitted. So we should be getting some nice rebates coming back from Ameren for this project. So that's all I have.
So for Teacher Appreciation Week, I just want to say thank you to all the teachers for their flexibility this year. If you've observed a teacher teaching virtually or teaching simultaneously virtual and in place, they have done amazing work and changed and adapted and adjusted so many times this year, and I am extraordinarily grateful. Thank you.
I would just like to echo others in thanking our teachers, nurses, and administrators for going above and beyond all year, really since last March, more than a year.
Well, like everyone else, I'd like to say thank you to the staff of this great district. If you had to look around and see who promoted the best in our area of education and who worked the hardest and who were the people that really got in and made things happen, I think we would have to start with central office staff and Dr. Patel. The leadership that she has provided through this pandemic is amazing. And I think we can move right on down to the principals in the buildings who worked with each individual teacher, parents, and students to make sure they got the education that we were able to provide under the circumstances. And you can't forget about the other group of educators who do not teach but take care of our kids as a nurse, our food service, transportation, the custodians. Everybody had extra workload this year, and it's amazing that we have come out as well as we have, and I'm very proud of every one of them. Thank you.
Being near the end of the line, it's like I don't know what else new I could say, but I just, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all the teachers for all that they do every single day to impact our children's lives and allow our children to learn an environment that is loving and just warm and caring. And so thank you. To our nurses as well, you take care of our children who need Band-Aids and have gotten hurt, but also you're there to support the child who has needs a mental break. And thank you so much for doing that. My kids are at the high school, and mine just participated in prom at Fox High School, and it was amazing. And he looked so handsome last week. He got his hair cut right before prom, so it was really, really nice. But I'm looking so forward to the upcoming events that I know didn't happen last year like they normally do, and I'm just so grateful for Dr. Patel's leadership and for the principals and everyone involved in getting things done in this district. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Tammy, for everything that you've done, from the academics to the sports to everything, because I know that we've gotten phone calls and emails, and you guys have just been amazing. And Randy, I'm just so thankful, and I love being up here, and I'm honored, and just let's have a great 18 more days. Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to recognize the teachers, the principals, the nurses, and the food service workers, you for this special week, for all of your hard work this year. Thank you. We truly appreciate all of our staff for everything they have done this very difficult year. I can't say enough how much we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody said a lot of good things. We do want to thank the teachers, the principals, the nurses, and the food service. They are the people that interact with the students, all of them, and we do appreciate them, and we're so thankful for what they do. Our district is really like a family, and people have grown up in the district. They've gone out and become teachers, come back. They're nurses, they're the food service, and that's what makes it neat. It's those people are the aunts, the uncles, the grandmas, the grandpas of the kids that are moving through the building. And I'd like to thank JP for putting all the different things on the website. It is so exciting to sit and read what former students say about teachers, people that are my friends, people that my children had for teachers, for myself. It's really exciting to get to read those things as people comment on what teachers meant to them. And if you haven't seen that, if you go to the district website, JP's got different things going on every day. And it's really honor. It's an honor to read those and know that those are people in our community doing those wonderful things. I want to thank Tammy for mentioning all of the awards that our district groups are receiving. It's always amazing at graduation to hear the amount of money the students from Fox receive in scholarships. It's just flooring to know that our teachers and our faculty have prepared those students in such a way that they can go out and receive that kind of money to continue, whether they're going to college or whether they're going to trade school, but the encouragement that they've gotten along the way. And it's just always an honor to be able to witness that and hear that. I want to thank Mr. Stewart for his review on the projects. It's good to hear that everything's ready to go, everything's ready to roll. As soon as school gets out, everything's ready to go at those 2 elementary schools, and there are no delays. Everything's in place, and construction is about to begin. So it'll be exciting to drive past those places all summer and see what's happening. I, too, want to say that I'm not a fan of masks. I walk through Walmart and I think, are we all crazy? But I do know that my grandkids were quarantined last week, and they sit 6 feet apart with a mask. And the thing I don't want to happen is what happened last year. I don't want students to miss the last week, the last day of school, because they're quarantined, not because they're sick, but because someone else was. And so we know that having the mask is going to keep everybody in school, and they are going to be able to participate in everything. So please just be patient and follow Dr. Patel's guidance in this, and we don't want anybody to miss those last few days of school. And congratulations to Kathy Hahn also in her very creative work that she does. And Dr. Gilman, patrons' comments.
Yes, we have one comment this evening. I'd like to remind our commenter that problems involving a particular or identifiable employee and or students are reserved for executive session. There is a 3-minute time period. A warning will be given after 2.5 minutes, and the Vice President of the Board will be the timekeeper. And Austin Faust, if you'd like to make your way up to the podium.
Hold on a sec.
Thank you. I've been preoccupied lately with questions of morality, of right and wrong, good and evil. Sometimes the delineation between the two is a sharp line. For some people, it's a blur. These questions are vital ones. One day, us kids, we're going to be just like you guys. We're going to have jobs, kids, and families of our own to look after. Every day I think about us and the younger kids and the ones that haven't even been born yet. All they're going to know is this, the mask. All they're going to grow up knowing is fear. But not everyone sees the sharp line. All they see is the blur. Masks do not work. That is a fact. Real scientific studies have proven this fact. The most recent study from Stanford University. This is not dispute. It is a matter of record. It is fact. Facts have no moral judgment. They merely state what is. Not what we think of them. Not what we feel. They just are. I know all of you know this. And like I said, pretty soon we're going to be just like you guys. We're going to have jobs, kids, and families. So why not enjoy the time that we have instead of living in fear over a virus? This is our time, your time. What do you want to do with it? If you want to wear a mask every day, fine. That's okay. But please, let the rest of us who want to live normally, let us live. Thank you.
Thank you. 3.4, Creativity and Innovation and Teaching Awards. We have Phyllis Paisley to present this award.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. To the Board President, Judy Smith, Superintendent, Dr. Nisha Patel, the esteemed members of the Board of Education, parents, students, and members of the Fox C-6 community. My name is Phyllis Paisley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education, a nonprofit service organization uniting those engaged in arts education within Missouri. To learn more about our organization, you can visit our website, and I left that with all of you there, www.moaae.org. The Missouri Alliance for Arts Education provides support for arts educators as we work to help students achieve their fullest potential through engagement in sequential, high-quality education within the fine arts areas of music, dance, theater, and visual arts. We support and celebrate Missouri's arts educators who are entrusted with the incredibly important responsibility of providing guidance for Missouri students, the leaders of tomorrow. Each year, we receive nominations to recognize excellence in arts education. We honor districts of distinction, community arts advocates, governmental advocates, extraordinary leadership in arts education administration, among others. Tonight, I am here to honor and to recognize a superlative educator and to celebrate the recipient of the 2021 MAAE Creativity and Innovation in Teaching Award, Kathy Hann. Kathy embodies what we want other teachers to emulate: an ability to innovate, to create, and to communicate their passion for the arts, for teaching and learning, as well as care and compassion for each student. For the past 2 decades, Kathy Hann has served at Merrimack Heights Elementary in the Fox C-6 school district in Arnold. She's worn many hats, including that of an in-person K-5 general music teacher, virtual academy music teacher, and summer virtual music appreciation teacher at the high school level. Kathy integrates character education, service learning, and STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and the arts, as well as mathematics, into the school music curriculum, which help empower students as they develop tools and skills for a high achievement to be used throughout their lifetime. A mentor to high school A+ students, collegiate level student teachers, and first-year teachers, Kathy provides guidance to the next generation of educators. She models her practice as a lifelong learner, having achieved her Bachelor of Music degree, her Master of Music degree in music education, and a second Master of Arts degree in educational leadership. And her doctoral program is nearly complete as she continues ongoing professional development through national and statewide arts education organizations. Kathy states that her hope is that her legacy will leave all with a passion for music, a love of education, a commitment to high achievement and perseverance, and to inspire her students to be the change they wish to see in the world. So it is my honor, on behalf of the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education, to present this award for creativity and innovation in teaching to Fox C-6 School District's own Kathy Hann. Congratulations. Yay. And thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Paisley, and thank you, congratulations, Kathy. It's an honor. That's really nice. And I think all of these music awards and things, band, that the district is receiving really go along with social and emotional well-being for our students. And so many students are involved in these programs, and it really does lift them up and help them to deal with things they have to deal with today.
Could I please say one? It's because of the support of the Board of Education across our state that makes that possible. So thank you as well.
Thank you. 3.5, Student Council Presentations, Dr. Cardona.
So I'm actually going to stand up for this because if you ask me, anytime we can have our own students here to talk about the great things going on in their school, I'm going to stand in their honor because I know they're going to share some great stuff with us. So I'm going to start with our Fox High School Student Council representatives, Veronica Harrison and Lauren Robertson. Will you come up and share all the great things going on at Fox High School?
To start, thank you all for having us for a moment of your time. We would like to update you on what we're doing at Fox High Student Council. We know it has been a difficult year and we have had to make changes and adapt to the new environment, so we are excited to share what we're working on. My name is Lauren Roberts. I will be the president for the 2021-2022 school year.
And I am Veronica Harrison, and I will be the vice president for the 2021-2022 school year.
To start off, for the first time ever, Fox High Student Council has won 2 awards for Polar Plunge. We were one of the top fundraisers, raising a total of $730 between 4 people, and we won best costume for the school. As you can see there, we dressed up as jellyfish and ran into a cold lake. It was really an honor to be a part of this event, and we are already looking forward to next year and making a tradition out of it. Second, we have Student of the Month boards. Our Photo Elect Committee has been sending out a form to teachers monthly and asking them for one exemplary student in their classes and why they deserve the award. A small committee votes out of those teacher recommendations and posts them on a bulletin board in the back hall of our school. And I know from personal experience, this has made kids really happy that they're getting recognized for their hard work, and overall, it improves our connections to the other students. Something new we've done this year is a game called Pick-a-Pop. This is a game we set up during one of our Spirit Weeks to raise money since we didn't have any dances this school year. And the premise of the game is you pick a sucker from the stand, and if it has a blue dot on the bottom, you get a snack, and if it has a red dot, you win a grand prize. We played this game at lunch, selling them for 25 cents or 5 for $1, and it was a wild success. We sold out of suckers almost every day, and we had a steady stream of people playing. Even if they didn't get a prize, they still get some great suckers, and since our Stuco members donated all the prizes, we were able to raise over $100. For staff appreciation, we know during COVID, we can't have our typical luncheons, which we love hosting for our staff. However, our hospitality committee has still been able to host breakfasts where they can choose from muffins, donuts, and plenty of fruits. As you may know, they were the ones who made the masks for you. They have also continued to deliver cards to teachers and help ensure they feel appreciated.
All right. So every year, our council plans many events with guidance and leadership from our state's official student council leaders. For both the national and MASC awards, we have to host events and meet a specific criteria to even apply for these awards. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we have received these awards as we have in the past for the 2020 through 2021 school year. And while we couldn't host our Veterans Day luncheon and assembly as we've done in the past, we didn't forget about them and made sure that veterans in our area knew Fox High School Student Council appreciates them. With the help of Mr. Scott Allen, we were able to film a video with a speech honoring the sacrifices made for our freedom. School spirit is something that has changed drastically this year. Without typical student sections at football games, dances, and other activities that make high school, it's always been a little bit hard to get school spirit up, specifically with this year. So our student council has managed to host multiple spirit weeks like normal with raffle incentives, and I personally think that these spirit weeks have increased spirit greatly. So something new that's been done this year is the class of 2020 and Fox High School Student Council have merged funds in order to buy a victory bell. This bell will be located near the track towards the baseball field and will be rung after winning games. We also plan to allow it for other victories outside of sports, such as academics, district wins in DECA, woodshop, robotics, and other clubs.
Our plans for next year include the cafeteria. Every year we contribute to a project at the school, and this year we were brought the opportunity to receive improvements to the cafeteria. This summer we plan to replace the ceiling, repaint the walls, and thanks to your approval we are getting new tables. We will be adding a logo onto the blank wall, and as part of our goal to include the student body in more decisions, they were able to choose the final design that we put up.
And if you guys have ever used the bathrooms at Fox High School, you know that we need renovations for them. So we will be able to improve our bathrooms one wing at a time. So this year, we will focus on the first wing by painting the walls and replacing stalls. The following school year, we will work on second wing, and I'm certain that the students at Fox High School will appreciate these improvements, and not only will it benefit students, but staff as well, and make the environment that much more enjoyable. Oh, yeah. All right. Overall, we are looking forward to a somewhat more normal year next year and bringing in new improvements and ideas to help our student body feel more comfortable and included in their school. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, ladies. The tables were approved, so the tables are coming. And thank you for encouraging all the students. That's great. Dr. Cardona?
And ladies, before you leave, I want to make sure we thank you guys for being up here. I am so, and they're leaving, but that's okay. Hey, ladies, woohoo, right here. I just wanted to thank you for coming up here, because it takes a lot of courage for you to come up in front of adults and speak about all the wonderful things you're doing. So thank you for doing that. And we talk about how many challenges we've had to face this year, but because of you guys and your leadership and being so innovative, when I say innovative, meaning thinking of new ways of doing things better, you have really, really stepped up. And I am so proud of you. And we always talk about amplifying student voice. You're amplifying student voice. So good job.
Yes, thank you, ladies, and for sharing all of that. So I would now like to introduce the Seckman High School representative for Student Council, which is Abby Woods.
Yay. Hi, I'm Abby Woods. I'm currently one of the 2 co-presidents for Student Council. My other co-president for next year was unable to be here, but his name is Carter Balsman, and we will be presenting a little bit about Student Council. So one of the main things that our theme this year has been, instead of doing things because of the pandemic, we've been doing things in spite of the pandemic. And I'm really proud to share with you some of our main events this year, which include community-based events, events in our own school, and events that help out our teachers. So I'm just going to get right into it.
All right.
So the event that I think our entire student council is most proud of is our March for Hunger. We partnered with our school, Windsor High School, and their student council to raise over 10,000 non-perishable foods. Awesome. Together with them, we were able to march through that entire Limay Road and collect trash, and it's just been a really fun bonding experience for all of us. Afterwards, we donated all of the food to Sister Mary's Food Pantry, so that was probably one of our biggest events this year. Another event we were super proud of happened about 2 weeks ago. Right. It was our All Abilities prom. Obviously, some of our All Abilities kids are not able to go to our typical prom because of certain sensory disabilities, things like that. So we improvised and made our own prom for them. They got to choose the theme, which this year was Disney. So the girls got crowns and special makeovers, and the guys got to be their own little Prince Charmings. This is a super fun event for us and for everyone in student council. We also typically would invite members from just the regular Seckman High School community, but because of COVID, we were unable to do that. But we made sure to follow all restrictions because most of these All Abilities kids are immune compromised. So we all made sure to wear our mask and social distance while on the dance floor. Another All Abilities event that we were super proud of was our All Abilities Sports Day. This was an event that personally was my favorite because for our All Abilities Sports Day, every kid in that class gets a banner with their name on it, and this year again they chose the theme, which was superheroes. So they all got either a Superman or a Wonder Woman banner, which they got to take home and was up all around the track. And we spent the entire day at the track running races with them, coloring pictures, and throwing softballs, anything and everything just to make them feel special and included. Even though COVID was obviously around with us, we still made sure to have fun while wearing our masks and social distancing. And finally, we're going to focus a little bit on our school events. So in the beginning, you can see in the top left corner, there's us on the first day of school. We always make sure to chalk all around our entire school just to make it a little more bright and cheery. Obviously, some kids probably won't be the happiest going into school on the first day, you know, that summer's over. So we make sure to brighten their day a little bit with some awesome chalk art. Another event that I'm really proud of is our campus cleanup. You'll see kind of scattered around are people holding trash bags. This event happened the day of Halloween, so everyone got to come in their Halloween costume, and it was very fun cleaning up our school. On the bottom, you can see us just kind of standing in a store. I promise we don't just go shopping together. We were shopping for our Thanksgiving families. Every year, we choose a family who is from our district who is needy, and we collect things for each family member. So we get into groups, and each group gets assigned a family member, the mom, dad, child, whomever, and we get to pick out clothes, food, gifts for Christmas, anything for them for Thanksgiving, and then our seniors go and deliver it personally. And it's just one of our most heartwarming events. And then on the side there, you'll see some of our kids washing cars. Those are from this year's Teacher Appreciation Week. We do our car wash every single year, and our teachers really love this. Our teachers have also received goodie bags with different candies and nice notes, just to show them that they're appreciated, because we all know in a year like this, it's been very, very difficult on them. So we just want to show them our extra appreciation. And that's all I have. I would just like to say thank you for having me, and it's been a blast.
I have a quick question for you before you leave. I assume there's a faculty advisor for the student council, and who would that be?
We have two advisors, Valerie Adkins and Sandra McCabe.
Okay,
And they're
thank
both
you.
awesome and
Good.
love them. Great job.
And Abby, thank you for being here today. And is it true, you mean not all kids are excited to come back to school now?
I don't want it to be true, because like I'm excited to go back to school. I don't know why they wouldn't be.
Exactly.
I know. I guess it's like a rumor that they aren't.
It's a rumor. It's a rumor. It's a rumor. But thank you for being here, and you did it by yourself too, without your partner. So great job.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for leading out in such great service activities. That's wonderful. You did so much service helping other people. That's great.
I just want to say that people ask me all the time, how do you do that with middle school and high school kids? There you go, right? That right there is the reason. You just saw that. So thank you, Abby.
That's great. Okay, 4.1, My Perspectives textbooks and online resources. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. We're asking the board to approve a motion to purchase Mice Perspectives textbooks and a 6-year contract for online resources from Savvis for $242,210.17 to be paid from ESSER 2 stimulus funds. These are high school textbooks that have been through the entire curriculum review process and were slated to be purchased a year ago when budget limitations meant that we had to hold off on the purchase and provide online only access for 1 year.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a quick question. Declan, they've been using the online all year this year.
Yes.
Did you have a meeting with the teachers to find out how they felt about this program now that they've actually had an opportunity to work with it?
I met with the department chairs and asked them to meet with the teachers, and I did meet with the, several of the PLC groups. I didn't meet with every teacher.
And so they're all on board?
Yes.
I just have one question. If we didn't have the ESSER funds available, what would we do about this situation? I mean, would we go like a year at a time, or is it?
So I don't get to control the whole budget, but if the board doesn't approve this motion, we would have to have a resource available, and so we would have to go to a 1-year contract, if nothing else.
Do they just do 1 year at a time? Is it either 1 year or 6 years?
No, we have options for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 6 years, and a 1-year contract is the most inefficient. If we buy it, then in a year we'll have to make another purchase.
And Carol, that was one of the questions I had emailed the board about it yesterday or day before. JP, if you could put that up there. One of the questions the board was wondering is, do we have to buy 6 years worth of online purchases? That's the default when you buy textbooks. Obviously, it's cheaper if you buy it in 6 years. But we did, Declan talked to the companies, and he was able to break it down by year. And that's what it would cost us if we decided to go a 1 year, a 3 year, 5 year, or 6 year. So that is a board's decision if they wanted to not do the 6 year purchase. One of the reasons we were suggesting 6 years is because it sets us up with using the ESSER funds.
I'm hesitant to buy for 6 years because, technology is it's fleeting. But I did speak, a teacher expressed to me that 6 years is a good idea because then they're able to really learn how to implement it and become great teachers of it throughout all the years instead of changing in a few years. So those are two options, right? Those are two different reasons, but I like what she said, that is very true. But if they don't love it, I don't know, I'm not privy to that information, so.
I have another question. If the ESSER funds were not available, is any of this funding built into our budget for this?
Not at this point.
If we didn't have the funds available through ESSER, is this curriculum materials price built into our budget?
Not at this point, no.
It's not?
No,
Okay,
not at this point.
thank you.
But next year, John, would you, if that was the case, would you typically work it into the budget?
So, I mean, what would have to happen would be prioritizing. So do we need, obviously, you have to, work towards a balanced budget is the ideal. Now, if we had to add this on top of what we currently have in our rough budget that we have at this point, I mean, that would increase the current deficit that we're looking at, that we're trying to whittle away. So then it's a matter of prioritizing where the board wants to spend the allotment of dollars that we have for the year. So do you put it towards curriculum? Do you put it towards, other things?
It was in the budget last year when the money was pulled. Is that correct? We were going to spend.
I believe it was in the initial budget request last year.
It was in the budget request, but by the time we got to bringing the budget to the school board, we already knew that it
The
wasn't.
money was gone.
Right,
We knew we were losing a lot.
We already cut it by $500,000 by the time we got to the final budget.
Yes.
So with this proposal for the 242,000, a little bit plus, and the social studies, the two together, how much of that 4 million are we spending? Do you have that off your top of your head?
This is 242. How much is
The other one is 105.3, so it'd be
350 roughly.
$350,000.
And we've already allocated, I think, 50, just north of 50 of those. So you're talking about 10% of the 4 million.
So I'm looking at the graph here, and so it's 1640 versus 2459 if you go in the middle of that. So for 3 years, so you're looking at about $9 cheaper per license if you go with the 6-year versus the.
So that's not just the cost of the license. So that bottom line there is that taking the cost of buying textbooks, the physical books, and the online licenses combined, and then divided by the number of years. So the cost of a 1-year license for a student, if you just buy a 1-year license, if you're just buying licenses and not buying books, is $18.97. But if you buy a 6-year license, the cost per year is $16.08. And then that bottom line is where we take the cost of actually buying the 920 books that we're providing to give classroom sets and dividing that across 6 years also. So that's the average cost once the implementation is completed.
I just have one more question. I realize this was all addressed last year and the decision was made and then we didn't do it. Has there been any reviews of this for this year? Or
Yeah, so I went back to the department chairs and I said, we've had online access for a year and now we're gonna be one-to-one with Chromebooks next year. Are the teachers, I said I don't wanna go to the school board with a plan to adopt something that teachers on 100% behind. And what they talked to their PLCs, and I met with several of the PLCs also, and they came back and said, we really think physical books for students in the classroom is an important element of this. We can't just do one-to-one with Chromebooks. We really need the kids to have a physical book to read while they're in the classroom. So I made the proposal asking for the classroom sets. And it was the department chairs and the principals who said, when we think about new teachers coming on board and PLC meetings and making sure that everybody has access to the resource, we can't go and we can't continue to do the 1 year at a time and electronic only. We really want to have these resources in the classroom, please.
And I agree, the books are necessary, absolutely. Okay.
I would also like to say that I would agree that the books are necessary. And April, to your comment, if everyone on board, and usually when you adopt a new textbook or new anything, it takes some buy-in, so hopefully that will, the people that are really into it will get the other teachers to buy into this and support. What does the PD look like for implementing this for next year?
So we've already provided PD last year with the implementation. They provided free professional development. We provided on-demand PD, and so we've been doing virtual PD, and also the sales rep has been visiting during their PLC meetings where they Zoom with them and had a consultant there with the PLC meetings. And then we have professional development scheduled that teachers are already signing up for the summer to do more training to learn all of the components of the online resource, so they can elect to do that in the summer. And then we can continue to schedule those on demand during the school year next year.
So we'll be set for 6 years, and we won't have to take any money out of the budget
Out of the operating fund.
for 6 years. And that's about a cycle of curriculum,
That is what we expect, yes.
so.
Because you're saying there's not enough in the operating budget to purchase it, correct?
It would increase the size of the deficit.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What'd you say?
It would increase the size of the deficit.
I got you.
Anybody have any other questions?
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand. If these funds are not used for this, and they're put in our general fund, can they be held in that general fund for a specific amount of time? Or
So-
are we limited to what we can do with those
The,
funds?
the way these particular ESSER funds work, it's on a reimbursement basis. So we're not just going to receive $4 million and they're going to sit in our bank account until we spend them. We have to spend them, and then we apply for reimbursement. There are allowable expenditures that you can use, that you can spend the money on and to apply for reimbursement. This is one of the acceptable items. So if we don't use it towards these, we would have to find another allocation for it. As you know, the allocation on ESSER 2 is a little bit in excess of $4 million. We don't know what our allocation is yet on ESSER 3, but I'm hearing anywhere from 2 to 2.5 times ESSER 2 funds, which means $8 to $10 million. And there's a whole separate set of allowable uses for those funds that are a little bit different from ESSER 2. So, between the two, you're looking at 12 to $14 million that need to be spent over the next three plus years, and this would be your CFO's thoughts on the subject. If we can buy a 6-year curriculum cycle and not have to use any district funds, it's fantastic, because that allows us 6 years to come up with a funding solution for the district to be able to then budget this appropriately in our regular operation budget.
I believe students do need the textbooks. That's really important. So we're really, between this and the social studies, we're really only spending a fraction of the $4 million, and then we've still got money for the other things that we have options for.
Correct.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I need a motion to approve the purchase of My Perspective textbooks and a 6-year contract for online resources from Savvis for $242,210.17 paid from the ESSER funds stimulus, or ESSER 2 funds stimulus funds.
When I read this, I had decided I was not going to vote yes on it, but it sounds like this is something our teachers are looking for. And it would be very beneficial to them to have the assurance that they have these 6 years in advance and they don't have to come back to the board every year to ask for funds to take care of this. And I make a motion, we approve it.
Second, anybody have a second? Any other questions? All in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
And we go to 4.2, World History and Government Textbooks. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
This is a very similar item. We're asking for the board to approve the purchase of World History and Government textbooks and a 6-year contract for online resources from McGraw-Hill for $105,640.21 paid for ESSER 2 stimulus funds. These materials have been through the complete curriculum review and adoption process and were slated for purchase last year when we faced a budget limitation and had an online-only access contract for 1 year.
Anybody have any questions?
I have same question, Declan. Have you talked to the teachers to make sure that this is a program that they want to continue using since they've used it for 1 year?
In this case, I met with the government and the PLC, the government and world history PLCs from each building and asked them specifically, do you need the physical textbooks in the classroom as well as the online resources? And there were teachers who said, I use the online resources exclusively. I don't need a physical textbook. So we reduced the numbers based on what the individual teachers were requesting.
Okay.
Any other questions?
As a mom of kids who are in those classes, it's very difficult whenever they don't have a textbook. So can there be, how are we going to then support the learning at home? Is it just, I guess what I'm saying is.
So when we purchase, we have a seat cap on a high school course at 33 students. And when we purchase a classroom set of textbooks, we buy 40. And that way there's room, because we're not buying one textbook per student for every single student. We're buying a classroom set so students have a book to use in the classroom. But there are, per teacher who teaches the course, there are 7 additional textbooks, so that if a family requests, we really need a textbook at home, my child prefers not to learn online, or if there's a resource room in the building where they need to have physical textbooks on hand, we have enough to make sure that anybody who doesn't want to access it through the Chromebook, they can request a physical book and they can be assigned a physical book to go home, but that's not the standard setup.
Okay, so this isn't a book for each kid. This is a book that stays in the room.
It's classroom set per teacher, so anybody who teaches the course has a whole set in their classroom, and then online access for every single student.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion to approve the purchase of world history and government textbooks and a 6-year contract for online resources from McGraw-Hill for $105,640.21, paid from the ESSER II stimulus funds.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. Chamberlain?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Anyone opposed? Okay, that carries.
Thank you.
We go down to 4.3, the 21-22 planned year healthcare premium rates. Mr. Stewart.
Yes. So our insurance committee has been meeting over the last, I think, 3 months or so, and to discuss plan changes, premium rates for the medical and dental plans. Our committee consists of 4 teachers, Mr. James Mueller, Ms. Elaine Martin, Ms. Susan Casey, and Mr. Paul Martin, and then 3 of us in the business office. And so we met 4 times, I believe, over the last 3 months to work on this. There's a lot of good discussion and a lot of scenarios considered to try to minimize the effect on employees while maintaining the actuarial integrity and financial stability of our insurance, our self-insured medical plan. At our last meeting, which is on April 22nd, all members of the committee agreed on the final plan designs and premium rates that are going to be recommended for the new plan year. So I first want to say thank you, and I appreciate all the hard work and input from all those that served on the committee. I do have, JP, if you could pull up that, yeah, let's start with that one. That's it, all right. So there was a lot of different things that were talked about and looked at. Our claims administration, stop-loss premiums are funded by Fox. Our plan is administered. We use the Anthem network, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield network, and so we adhere to, they adhere to the Fox plan provisions and processes, and they manage the claims and contracts with provider networks, and they also provide the stop-loss coverage. Our consultant, Gallagher, they assist us in forecasting, rate setting, plan modeling, and any analysis and negotiation with different contracts, specifically pharmacy contract. And they present forecast results and rate recommendations to the committee, and we discuss those via several meetings. I think all of them were in person this year, weren't they, Paul? Yeah, so, yeah, that was great. Last year, they were all virtual, which was a little weird, but this year they were all in person. So, just a little bit of history. If you look at that bottom chart there, our plan, 3 of the last 4 years has had a shortfall in funding. So our claims have exceeded our premiums over in 3 of the last 4 years. So in 16, 17, 18, 19, and 19, 20. In 17, 18, we had a little bit of a margin in there, and so far this year, through the end of February, a little bit of a margin in there as well. So last year, whenever we set rates, we also included a little bit of a reserve recovery goal of $2 million over a 3-year period. So that got built into the rates. We did, if you'll remember, a year ago, we had some significant rate increases. But this year we also had negotiated improvements on pharmacy contracting with the current pharmacy benefit manager, which is Anthem and Genio, and only moderate increases to premiums are needed for this year. And I want to make sure everybody understands this. There are no plan changes. The plan is exactly the same. The only thing that's going to change is the premium. So while you hear no plan changes, that doesn't mean the plan cost is staying the same, but all the benefits are exactly the same, but the cost will be going up a little bit, starting 10/1. So, and this is the increase is going to be to cover forecasted costs and to continue to move towards adequate reserve levels. So some of the things we talked about, we looked at a pharmacy program analysis that Gallagher put together for us. They had looked at carving out our pharmacy benefit management service to an Express Scripts consortium. It's specifically an education consortium that's got, there was a lot of lives in it, but they use Express Scripts, which is the pharmacy benefit manager we previously used before we were with Ingenio. Anthem and Genio came back and they offered, they made some financial improvements, so they brought costs down. So the recommendation is going to be to stick with Anthem and Genio for the coming year. And that's going to be a 3-year commitment on the administrative fee, no disruption to employees or families, or regarding formulary changes. There's also going to be a specialty pharmacy program enhancement through Anthem and Genio that are going to be recommended to be adopted, and this will help lower member out-of-pocket costs for certain high-cost specialty prescriptions, but it's also going to reduce Fox plan spending by maximizing manufacturer assistance funds. Another piece that we're going to that we talked about and we're going to recommend, our current health savings account administration is through Health Equity, and while I say that, all that is that's the bank account basically that everybody that participates in the health savings account has. So I participate in that. I have a debit card. It's just like a bank account. I use that debit card whenever I need to pay for my prescriptions or a portion of a doctor's visit and that. So the current vendor is Health Equity. We have about 225 participants in the HSA plan. Anthem has indicated that they are no longer going to actually partner with Health Equity beginning 10/1, and so if Fox were to continue using Health Equity, we would incur some additional charges of about $3,000 a year, and on top of that, some unknown charges for a file feed with our current online enrollment system. So in order to save those dollars, we're recommending to move over to Anthem's HSA alternative, which is called ActWise. So we would incur no additional fees to move the money, and ActWise and Anthem, they would assist in the migration of those that do have accounts over to ActWise from Health Equity at no cost. The participants could leave it in Health Equity if they want. Just new contributions and withholdings would have to go into the ActWise. and the ActWise will be fully integrated with the pharmacy and medical benefits through Anthem.com. So it's like a one-stop shop if somebody goes on to their Anthem.com or their My Sydney app, and they could see all that information all together in one place. So we're going to be recommending introducing ActWise as our HSA vendor effective October the 1st. We did discuss, and I mentioned it in part of the piece here, that last year, if those of you that were on the board last year, remember we had a recommendation of a dependent eligibility audit, and last year we felt that it wasn't the appropriate time, and we had lots of discussion around it this year in committee as well, and our recommendation at this point is going to be to put it off for one more year, but we will do lots of education around what is an eligible dependent for this open enrollment, so that people understand that, who they can cover, who they can't cover. So we'll recommend putting that off for one more year. And then the last recommendation is going to be a new benefit. It's a voluntary coverage, so it's going to be paid for by the employees that want to participate, but it's a hospital confinement benefit through VOIA. VOIA currently provides some of our other coverage, so it's not a completely, they provide our accident and critical illness coverage. So what this hospital confinement benefit does is when somebody goes to the hospital and they get admitted, they receive $1,100 for that admission, and then they receive $100 a day while they are in the hospital. That benefit is available up to 3 times in a calendar year. And so we thought it would be a fantastic addition into our line of benefits, especially with, you've got, a lot of people end up in the hospital with COVID, and so it would help with some expenses for that. It's also, popular, it covers for maternity as well, and those types of things. So there's no health questions, and it just seems it's also a perfect fit to go along with our folks that are considering moving to the HSA but are worried about a larger deductible. Well, if you go to the hospital, there's $1,100 towards your deductible plus $100 a day while you're in there. So so we're recommending to go along with that as well and implement that. So again, recommendations that we are going to be making is to stay with Anthem and Ingenio for the pharmacy benefit provider. The hospital confinement, add that as an implementation of a new benefit for the plan year starting 10/1 of 21, and to change our HSA administration over to ActWise from Health Equity. You also have as an attachment the recommended premium rates. Overall, the premiums have increased 6.8% overall. Of course, that's not, that doesn't follow through for each and every line item, but if you look at all the premiums that are possible through all the different plans, it is 6.8% overall, which is pretty moderate, especially when you look at what occurred last year. So that is on the health insurance side, the medical. On the dental insurance side, we are currently in locked-in premiums, so premiums will stay flat, exactly the same next year as they are the current year. So 0% across the board there. So employee groups that are receiving full board paid benefits will receive benefits of medical insurance of $538 per month, dental insurance of $29.99 per month, and life insurance of $2.60 per month. That's for the employee only. Employee groups that receive partial board paid benefits will receive medical at $403.50 per month, dental at $29.99 per month, and life at $2.60 per month. So I would ask that the board approve the benefits and premium rates for the plan year beginning October 21st in regards to healthcare, dental coverage, life insurance, and vision coverage as presented. By the way, vision's not changing at all. That's a voluntary benefit that comes directly out of the employees. Life insurance is remaining the same as well.
Anybody have any questions?
I know that this district was, I guess, allowed, my sister talked about the teledoc and how this district really supports that, and I think that's awesome. But I'm a little confused. Then you went to the, if you're hospitalized, you get $1,100 whenever you are admitted, and then $100 a day. I'm a little confused about the philosophy of that. What is that?
So that's a voluntary benefit. So, for instance, if we had an employee that was coming, starting next year, knew they were going to have a baby.
Okay.
And they decided they wanted to sign up for that coverage. Pardon me. Then, when they get admitted to the hospital, they'll receive a benefit of $1,100 for the admission, and then $100 per day for each day that they're in the hospital. So think of it as, it's a little bit different, but it's similar. If you remember the Aflac commercials,
Yes.
and they're paying you for this and that. So,
And it's something that they purchase separately.
Correct.
It's not part of the
Okay,
package. They buy
that's-
that separately.
That's what I was
if they
confused
want.
about. Okay, the teledoc is awesome. And then with the audit, I understand and I totally agree with the PD on just educating everyone and the staff about who's eligible. What will that look like, or what are you thinking? Is that going to be just like a
list?
or even somebody coming in and just talking to the different staff about it?
No, so I think we're going to put out some educational pieces on, here is what an eligible dependent is as far as our medical insurance goes. So it's a spouse, it's a child that lives with you, your child, a stepchild, and go through those. One of the things, and folks have asked before, well, when you do the dependent eligibility audit, what do you find? What I understand is that the biggest area where there's ineligible dependents still being covered is when there's been a change in a family, so there's been a divorce. And so, maybe an employee was covering the whole family on their coverage, and now the ex-spouse is supposed to be covering their self and the children, but for whatever reason, their rates are too high, or it just didn't happen, and so they're still being covered on our plan. Well, the end reality of it is that's not an official eligible expense to our plan. And so it's just a matter of, the audit is a matter of asking everybody that is covering dependents on the plan to submit documentation and, via a tax form, those kinds of things, marriage certificate, those kinds of things that, that prove this is my spouse or this is my dependent child, and submit those types of documentation.
I think insurance is something that not a lot of people understand or like. It blows my mind sometimes. So I know as a staff person, I would like the PD, just like we offer PD with, instructional practices. I think just PD about what health insurance we have, what options, and amenities we have is a great idea too.
And I know in the past, our business office, before I came, our business office had in-person discussions with folks, or had this room booked and had, basically open slots for people to come in and talk to folks with Gallagher or folks with Anthem to talk about the different insurance. And sometimes it turnout was good, sometimes it wasn't. I know last year, coming up to open enrollment, Pam Graves, our benefits person, she does fantastic with everybody, and she made herself available for Zoom meetings in-person meetings in the office. She was there early, she was there late, for any one-on-one discussion like anybody wanted. But I also know a lot of folks want the autonomy to be able to go out to Empyrean, which is our online enrollment system, and go through it all themselves and not worry about that. So, we're going to be pushing information out to them at certain times to educate them along the lines that we need to.
John, I was thinking along Michelle's thoughts, because I remember years ago in the olden days when we had the insurance meetings, we would open the auditorium in the afternoon and have people from the companies or the business manager or whomever there to just answer questions in that mode.
Right.
That was, I think, beneficial. I don't know if that's possible or able to be done, but just a thought that that's kind of gives you a mass audience at a time if you need it, but it's there if they want to attend.
Right.
Because that can be a confusing thing when you're changing plans and what are the new benefits or not benefits and that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
just a thought.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
So am I understanding nobody fills out paperwork annually? Like that way you would know if there was a divorce and those people are not covered. So there's no way to check it on an annual basis.
Correct. So yeah, I come in and I'm
So if the claims come in, we still show that child is covered, you're going to pay him, right?
correct.
So that could be a big problem, right?
Potentially.
So, okay.
Potentially.
So that's something that we need to think about for next year for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
So why did we put off the audit again this year?
So with a lot of the, it's been a,
Sorry.
it's been a, yeah, no, it's been a difficult year, and just everybody coming back,
Yeah.
and then having to, all of a sudden you get an audit, and the audit's completed by an outside firm, and so all of a sudden, we would educate everybody and tell them, hey, if you get an email from this corporation, it's legitimate. You need to do what it says. But you're going to get an email that says, I need you to provide documentation in the lines of a marriage certificate, your tax return for last year, an adoption paper, or a birth certificate, verification for these dependents. And it can be kind of invasive. And so, the thought is just with all the stress of the current year that we're winding up, that an additional stressor like that may not be the right time to do that.
Okay, I can understand that. I do have a couple other questions. You said that we did increase the insurance significantly, the cost last year,
Correct.
and then you are asking to increase it a little bit more this year?
Correct.
And you said you do not get any extra benefits because of that? I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood.
So that none of the coverage is changing.
Okay.
So the deductibles are all the same. The co-pays are all the same, whether it's for office visits or whether it's for pharmacy, depending on whether you're talking about your name brand.
So that's what you're
That's
paying
all the
for.
same.
The extra that you're
Correct.
paying this year, you're getting those extra benefits.
No, the benefits are exactly the same. It's just the cost of inflation
Oh, okay.
in the medical field. And inflation in the medical field is a number of times higher than what it is in general inflation in a year. So 6.8% is a pretty good number for this year.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what it was last year, but it was significant. We had, in fact, we had some rates that I think one of them almost doubled.
And
for
you
some
said that
dependent
you have
coverage.
spoken with committee groups about this and.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we had, our committee had a committee of 7 people, had 4 different meetings over the last 3 months, and in fact, Ms. Hargis participated and came in and observed the last couple.
I attended the last 2 meetings. So, and listen to the input from the teachers and how they felt about the insurance increases.
And I believe some of the folks are here tonight.
I just have one more question, and then that's it.
Sure.
When an audit is done like this, you're not checking every individual, though. You're spot checking people, right?
It would be every person that is covering, that has dependent coverage. So I cover my wife and my 2 sons that are eligible to be covered. I
Okay.
cover them. And so I would have to provide documentation on them.
Okay.
If somebody else only has the board coverage for themselves and they don't have dependents, they're not going to have to provide
I gotcha.
anything.
Okay, because I was thinking with an audit like that, you could still miss people, but you're just auditing a group. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Correct.
John, thank you for all your work, and thank you to the committee. I know this is very time-consuming and takes a lot of effort to get this completed, and so if nobody has any other questions.
I have a question.
Okay.
Being in the Fox plan as a retiree, any major changes or issues there?
So by state law, retirees get the same benefit plan as current active employees. There's no changes to the plan, period, other than cost. So retiree benefits are exactly the same as they were last year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I just want to clarify that retirees have to pay the full premium. We do
Yes.
not get any benefit except for the insurance that we purchase.
Correct. The state law is that retirees are entitled to the coverage, to access to the coverage, but it's on their own dime.
Okay, we need a motion to authorize the benefits and premium rates for the plan year beginning October 1, 2021 in regards to health care, dental coverage, life insurance, and vision coverage as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, 4.4, Chromebook purchases.
Okay. Give me a moment here to turn the pages. So the technology department is requesting to purchase 135 Chromebooks using funds from the Chromebook Repair Revolving Account. So these will be purchased using the Ed Plus Missouri Schools state contract, and they'll be added to the tech department's inventory of devices. The total cost is $33,656.85. So these devices will be used to issue to students who have damaged, have a damaged Chromebook, or it needs to be replaced. So whether it's on a loaner while they repair their current Chromebook, or it actually just needs to be reissued. So, and that's what these funds, this revolving account, is based on the insurance charge that is each family pays, and so that's exactly what these funds are intended for, is the replacement of damaged Chromebooks. So I would recommend the board approve the proposal from CDWG as presented.
Mrs. Yant, did you have a question?
No, I'm going to make a motion. I make a motion, we approve the purchase of the Chromebooks.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the proposal from CDWG to provide Chromebooks to support both buildings on a one-to-one repair and replacement for a total cost of $33,656.65 as presented. Do we have a second? 85 cents, sorry. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. 4.5, purchase of wireless access points. Mr. Stewart.
So we have the need to replace some access points at Ridgewood Middle School and Antonia Middle School. The project cost is $68,200, of which federal E-rate funding will provide 50% of that cost. So the district will ultimately be responsible for $34,100. It's recommended to approve the proposal from CDWG as presented. And I'm sorry, it's actually $68,280. 280. That was my bad, I'm sorry. 68280.
Okay. Did you get that?
I make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Yes.
Anyone oppose? Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
4.6, revision of extra duty stipends. Dr. Brock.
We are requesting that the board approve some revisions to a few of our stipends. These changes would go into effect for next year. So first we're looking at the stipends for our softball coaches, and these are at the high school. So we would move our head softball coaches to $5,608 from $4,366, and the assistant coaches would now make $3,800, and they currently make $3,324. Softball is our only sport right now in which the coaches for girls teams are not paid the same as coaches for boys teams. So we're trying to even those out. And then the other two are changes from $10 an hour to $15 an hour. Administrators have expressed difficulty in getting people to be ticket takers at events and to chaperone school dances. And so we'd like to bump those up from $10 to $15 in an effort to get more people, and that lines them up with other non-academic stipends like supervising detention or taking tickets, or announcing at games and things like that.
Anybody have any questions?
I did not realize that we parents get paid for those things. Sign me up.
You're signing up?
I am now.
We need a motion to approve the adjusted stipends as presented to go into effect beginning next school year.
Motion, Chamberlain?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. 4.7, Network for Educator Effectiveness Contract. Dr. Brock.
We're requesting the board's approval for a contract for me for next year. It's the evaluation system that we use for our teachers, SLPs, and administrators that allows us to comply with the rules set by DESE about what kinds of things are included in teacher evaluations and so on. The rate would stay the same as it is for this year and for 2019. So there hasn't been, or there will not have been, an increase for 3 years.
Anyone have a question?
I do. I just want to make sure I understand this. Kelly, the way the fees are structured, it looks like you pay per student. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the fee that we're paying is $33,000 about for this. Now, how do you use the data? Do you use the data that they provide?
The data mostly comes from like principal classroom observations, the professional development plan or professional growth plan that the teacher writes, the student data that they include. So we kind of create the data, but it does allow principals to like pull reports and things like that. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Create your data. They don't provide the data. Is the data provided from, like, it's all entered in it, and then you assess that data, and that's when you make a determination of what the fee and things like that.
Principals can use it for that, yes. The superintendent's office or curriculum PD.
This is the teacher
can use it
evaluation
for that,
program.
but it's primarily the teacher evaluation system.
Any other questions? We need a motion to approve the contract that's attached.
Motion to approve the knee contract that is attached.
We need a second. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Anyone abstaining? Do we need to?
Maybe, I don't know if I quite understand it all. So I don't want to say yes or no, but I don't know what questions to ask either.
So it's an online platform.
Do we use it now?
We use it, yeah, we've used it for, I want to say this is the 6th year. And I
Since
think
2015.
Okay, and there was a pilot the year before that.
Randy or Tammy, can either of you say anything about these programs?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the benefits, before we adopted the knee, we set out to create our own teacher evaluation to try to meet DESE regulations, and it was just a disaster trying to create our own. So MU had one, and it's very well put together. It's research-based. For the teachers, we basically look at 4 indicators, and so when principals go in, they look at those 4 indicators. They call them like the 4 horsemen: critical thinking and problem solving, student engagement. They look at those things and they score teachers, and then they have post-conferences for every teacher. And so that's kind of the main gist of it. We also use it for principal evaluation, which we build building improvement plans, and so this knee tool fits kind of in what we call their BIP, their building improvement plan. And so that's how we look, and we try to align those things, what teachers are working on, what the district CSIP is, and then what the building improvement plans are. We try to get some alignment there, and it's basically just about having good conversations around growth.
Randy, what is the role of the principals in the teacher evaluation?
So they do observations. They go in, they do, the thing that's different from kind of a few years back is they do multiple observations. So they'll go in, for a new teacher, for a non-tenured teacher, they'll go up to 6 times in that teacher's classroom. They don't stay as long as, in the past. In the past, you'd come in, you might stay 30 minutes or an hour in a teacher's room. The research shows that it's more effective. You get a better picture of what's going on in the classroom if you do shorter visits but do them more frequently, which makes sense. And so the principals go in, they're basically looking at those 4 indicators that I talked about, and then they'll have a post-conference with the teacher, and they'll just talk about those 4 indicators. They might talk about student engagement, hey, here's what I saw in student engagement, and then they just have a conversation about, hey, maybe you could try this, it might improve. It also fits in with the things that we've been doing for PD, like for example, turn-in talks, other things like that to help with student engagement, to help critical thinking and problem solving. So it's all kind of meshed together with professional development, and it's all focused on growth.
And they would write a summative report of that.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
at the very, very end that they would do a full summative on that. Correct.
Okay.
Randy, you said 4 horsemen. Does every school use the same 4?
Yes. There's basically district initiatives. I think elementary and secondary, there might be 1 indicator off. At elementary, we found, I think, that there was one about a teacher manages time, space, transition, and activities. And at elementary, they were scoring so well on that we decided to go with a different indicator because all the teachers just had that down.
I just want to add one of the other components with NE, a couple things. One is every year, anybody that evaluates teachers has to go through a recertification. So every summer, every principal or anybody, again, that goes into a teacher's classroom for evaluation, we have to sit in, I think it's a 4 or 5 hour training every summer, and we have to watch videos of teachers teaching and score them, and we have to score within a certain number to be recertified to go in and observe teachers. So it's called recalibration. So we're recalibrated every year, which I think is a great component of this. It's not we get one training 6 years ago and we haven't been trained on it since. And then another really good component of it is the state requires teachers to do a professional development plan, and the professional development plan is built into the NE, so teachers can do that within that program. So it's kind of all in there together.
So are you okay?
I'm okay now, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Grunwald, are you good with that? Okay, all right. We'll move on to,
Do we have to do the motion again and vote?
no.
No.
No, we already did all that. I just clarified with you two, and so.
Okay. Yes. You're welcome.
Okay, we're moving on to 5.1, donations to Antonia Middle School. Dr. Patel.
Yes, we're asking the board for a motion to approve a donation of $1,000 from Walmart to Antonia Middle School. An ELA teacher, Ms. Schnabel, applied for this to buy clothing and additional supplies for Antonia Middle School.
We need a motion to approve the donation of $1,000 from Walmart to Antonia Middle School.
I'll make a motion.
We need a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that carries. 6.1, consent agenda, item approval, 6.2 through 6.8. And Dr. Brock, whatever you would like to say, and then Dr. Cardona has something to add.
So one of the, and I
Dr.
can take
Patel.
it. I'll take that one, Kelly. One of the items that we have in the consent agenda items is the salary schedule for the stipends for Canvas. And I wanted to just make sure Dr. Cardona is going to come up here and just give a presentation on where we are in terms of our own Fox C-6 Virtual Academy. And before she does that, I just want to talk about, and I know she's going to get into the why, but the focus was, we know this year has been challenging for our students, specifically our high school students who have to have a number of credits in order to graduate. What we found out through this pandemic is that we had a lot of students who failed courses, so we need to develop a plan that is strategic and focused in addressing the students who are behind in credits. That's one. And then the second thing is, we had kids who typically maybe are A students taking AP classes, but because of the pandemic, because of all the socio-emotional stress on it, the virtual learning, they may not have gotten the A that they wanted. Maybe they got a C. So I felt it was very necessary for us to be able to give them an opportunity to take a class over and do better in it, hence also helping their GPA because it impacts scholarships. So when we approached this idea, my goal was to create and develop courses that our own teachers create on a consistent platform, which the board supported in purchasing Canvas, in order to achieve two things. One, to develop courses for our students that failed them for credit recovery, and two, we're calling them continuous improvement, to allow kids to do better in the classes that they've already taken. And so when we went down this journey, it may seem simple when we're kind of talking about it, but there are so many layers. There have been so many meetings. There have been so much discussion around developing this vision. And this is not a vision that'll happen in a quarter or even a semester. We're thinking 2-3 years down the road of what we as a district want to develop for our kids in being innovative and getting better from what we've learned through this pandemic. I am so proud of what we're about to launch here. And I want to give kudos to Dr. Cardona for all of her hard work behind this, because I know it's been tedious and I know it's been difficult. And then also with Luke, I want to thank you with the whole technology part of it. They have been meeting constantly about this. And then Robin Green, if you can stand up for me, because I know you're going to hate this. But Robin Green is our director. If you don't know this, she's our director of professional learning, and she is phenomenal. She has a passion for making sure she's helping our teachers do professional learning, and she has really, and I know Dr. Cardona would agree, she and Dr. Cardona have worked hand in hand. If you go to our office right now, that's all you will see. You talk about weekends, that's all they're working on. So today, Dr. Cardona is going to give you an overview of where we've been, the why, where we've been, and what we're moving towards. And again, like I said, this is a big overview of what we've been doing. So
Dr.
thank you
Cardona,
both.
thank you for preparing this so that everybody will understand what it is we are about to do. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I want to start with the why. And really, the important piece of this is Dr. Patel has actually, okay, JP, you said this worked. Okay, there we go. Is really to help our students, right? We all know that we've come off the most difficult year that we've ever had, and that's impacted our students as well. So we wanted to be able to provide a virtual offering to our students. Now, something a lot of people don't know is virtual learning did not start with COVID. You know, the state required districts to allow students the virtual option before COVID even started. So that is a DESE requirement. And what we have been doing is we've been sending students to Launch, which is a virtual program that the Springfield Public Schools oversees. So a lot of our students go to that, or we're sending them to MOVA. So one of the things is the financial benefit of creating and facilitating our own program. So through COVID, we actually started having conversations, and we started talking about how can we take, you know, my mantra this year all along has been taking lemons and making it into lemonade. And so we were like, how can we take this bad situation now and make it good for us? So what we wanted to do was develop a program where we had our own virtual program that our own teachers were overseeing, so that our own teachers would get the stipend for it. Right now, if we have a student that we say wants to go all virtual and we send them to Launch, the Springfield program, they are taking classes from a teacher that is not one of our teachers, and then a teacher in another school district is getting paid to oversee those classes for those students, which cost us about $255 a student a semester. So it gets very costly very quickly. The other benefit to this is if we are in control of this, then we know that it is aligned to the curriculum that has been board approved, so that if I have a student, I'm a teacher, and I have students that are sitting in front of me in class, and I'm teaching them Algebra 1, but maybe I have an hour where I have some students that are now taking Algebra 1 through our Fox Academy, I know they are following the exact same curriculum that my seated students are following. And that's huge, because right now, if we have a student go to Launch, we have no control over that curriculum. I'm sure it's state approved, but you know, if we have a student that maybe goes to Launch for the first semester, they're not successful and they come back to us, we don't know what elements they've learned in that class and what they're missing. So that is another huge benefit. And then I already talked a little bit about it being taught by our own educators. So we also have the component at the high school of the credit recovery. So when a student fails a course at the high school level, most of those courses are going to be requirements for graduation. So if I fail a course, I receive an F in it, I have to find time or a way to recover that credit. I can't just say, oh, well, I failed the course. So let's say I fail ELA, language arts, first semester as a 9th grader. I have to make up that credit somewhere. So we call those credit recovery courses. So a student has to have 24 and a half credits to graduate. So we have to find some way for students to be able to make up that credit. Up until now, the way that we've done that is we've used what's called ALS. And I think that stands for Anytime Learning System. That program we've been using for, I don't know, multiple years now is gone at the end of June. It's not off. So find a way for us to be able to up off on purpose. We had to find a way for our students to be able to credit class they have through with the. And another one of those reasons why we were looking at how do we do this? How do we continue to support our students with this? And then, of course, we already talked about the effects of COVID and how we need to make sure that we are supporting our kids through that. Poor JP. I'm keeping you happy tonight. So, as Dr. Patel said, this has been a lengthy process. We actually started this in February. I went to each high school, and right now our plan is to move this to middle schools as well, but we are focusing on high school because we want to make sure that we have something in place for our students to be able to receive the credits. So I went to each high school and met with the department heads. I explained to them what our thought process was, how this will benefit our kids virtually, how this benefits our staff and what this would look like for credit recovery. I explained what the credit improvement was and how we were going to lay all this out. We also talked to them about teachers getting paid stipends to create the courses. So we already have a district curriculum that's been approved. But what we're doing is we're taking that district curriculum now and we're turning it virtual. So, you know, teachers throughout this last year have learned that a lot of things that we do in the classroom look a little different online. You know, I may have all these assignments lined out, but when I want to give those to my virtual students, I have to tweak them a little bit. I have to change them a little bit. So we went and we found teachers who were interested, teachers that actually currently teach the course, to take what they've done this year and now make that virtual and do all the assignments, do all the assessments, record the videos if videos are needed, and then we are paying them up to 50 hours. They're receiving $20 stipends, $20 an hour stipends for up to 50 hours. And I think, Robin, we have about 72 courses. Is that about right? We have 72 courses that are currently being written. Now at the high school, we have about 164 courses total. So it's a huge undertaking. So that started in February. Then in March, we did the virtual planning with Cabinet. We started talking about, okay, how do we roll this out? How do we do training with teachers? And we actually have teachers in our district that teach for launch. So in the evening, they get paid to teach those classes through Springfield Public. And so we really set up some meetings and really started picking their brains on, tell us what that looks like when you're teaching for launch. What are the stipulations? What makes it good? What are some things you would change? So we actually used their expertise to help us develop what this should look like for our kids. And then we continued to talk to the department heads and any teacher interested in developing the courses. And then we sent out, okay, we're ready now. If you are a teacher that's interested in developing this course, you can apply to create the course. And then we started doing training. We are developing those online courses through Canvas, and there are trainings weekly, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. Now that is all hours that is also calculated into that 50 hours to develop the course. Then the biggest undertaking was developing the syllabi. So the thought process is when we develop these classes on Canvas, the class or the course will become like a locked course. So once it's developed, the course will be put on Canvas and then it'll be locked so that if I'm a teacher at Seckman and I'm teaching Algebra 1, maybe I'm teaching it this semester virtually, but next semester a Fox High School teacher's teaching it. It is not a course that can be adjusted or changed. It is locked so that doesn't matter who's teaching it, the students are getting the same assessments, the same work, they're going over the same essentials. So one of the things is even though we have 1 or 2 teachers writing the course, once those courses are written, and this is kind of where we're at now, we're about to the deadline where the teachers who are writing those courses are about done with those. Now we're going to share them with the whole PLC. So everybody that teaches Algebra 1 now across the high schools is going to have eyes on that course so that they can give it a thumbs up or these are the things we need to change, these are the things that we need to adjust, so that all our teachers are comfortable when this course goes live on Canvas. We know and we can stand behind that this is a good course. We know students are getting the essentials that they need for this course and we can stand behind the process. That also happens with the syllabus. So the teachers have to agree on the syllabus. What does the syllabus look like? They had to agree on how are we going to grade assessments? What does late work look like? So it has been a lot of conversations, good conversations, and being able to bring teachers together to say what is best for our students as we move to this online platform. So we are now to the point where the courses are almost completed. We've actually are going to open up some courses for summer school where students that are interested in taking the continuous improvement can register for courses and take that this summer. And I think currently we're up to about 17 students or so that are...
Probably like 25, but 7 courses.
Yeah, so we have 25 students that have already, because we've been sending this out to students. Hey, if you want to retake a course to try to get a better grade, you can do that this summer. So it will be an 8-week course. And so now we are to the point where we want to now start looking for teachers that will oversee the course. Now, teachers that will oversee the course, The course is already written. All the assessments are there. All the work is there. All they're doing is they are grading the papers. They are doing the weekly meetings. There'll be set hours that they'll have to set for office hours for students that have questions, because Canvas will be totally asynchronous for our high school students. So that's kind of where we've been and what we've been doing through March. April, again, we have continued to develop the courses. I've started discussion with middle schools. We are not ready to start developing those courses at middle school yet. I just kind of wanted to get it out there that this is what we're looking at so that we can start developing those. And we will use all next year to start working on middle school courses so that the following year we can offer those to middle school students who may want to be virtual. And then the students have already begun registering for those courses in Canvas for summer school for that continuous improvement. So in May, again, the courses are going to be shared with the whole department, so they have eyes on it to look at it. Our goal is to finalize that for Canvas on May 20th, and then start sending out the applications to teachers who are interested in teaching the course. And then, everything goes well, the course will open and begin on June 3rd. So right now, we have, our goal is, and in the agenda for the approval on the stipends, a course needs to have 3 students in the course for the course to make. And really, we base that off of what it cost us to send a student to launch, and we base the teacher stipends off of how much does a teacher make in summer school, how much are teachers making at launch, and we kind of came up with what does that look like as a breaking point. So you will see the breakdown there in your on your agenda on the 3 to 10, what the pay is going to be, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of what is in the consent agenda tonight for approval, is the stipends for the teachers that are going to oversee those Canvas courses. A lot of information, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. I just think this whole concept is amazing, and I think the teachers that have taken on this job, because it could not have been very easy to put all this together. I think it's very interesting. I love hearing you talk about it. I don't know if we're ready for a motion, but if we are, I make a motion we approve the Canvas stipends.
Well, I can tell you this is just another reason why our teachers are incredible, right? Like, this is over, above, and beyond what they're doing in their classroom, but they know after the year that we've had that we've got to find ways to meet our students where they're at, and virtual is not going away. So how do we make this better for our students? And that's really what this was born out of.
It's all about the students, that's for sure.
I think one of the things that might come out of this too is making things more consistent across the schools. Yeah. If it's Algebra 1, once you've got a syllabi or a syllabus for that course, it's going to kind of make things, so if students are moving from one school to another school, this could eventually help make everything equal across the board with how things are taught. And
well, and one of the other benefits is homebound, right? When we have students that have to go on homebound, teachers are gathering all of the information and sending it home for the students, and students may be on homebound for 6 weeks, if it's a health issue. Well, now you can say we can go on, eventually when we get all these courses up and running, they'll be able to say, well, you can go on to Canvas, and here is your Algebra 1 course that you can take while you're homebound. So, there's a lot of benefits to it, but it's going to take us a while to get to that point.
I have a comment. I think, just like Carol said, this is definitely innovative and student-centered, and I love it. Have we gotten any feedback or the student voice from the students of when will we hear from student voice?
So the first time students will be able to get on Canvas and take that course will be this summer. We'll be able to offer 7 courses. And they're for the continuous improvement. And honestly, I'm kind of glad it's only 7 courses, because it gives us an opportunity to kind of pilot it and see what's done well and what do we need to change and twist, and maybe adapt before we start opening it up to everybody. But again, we've, out of 164 courses, we're only going to have 70-something written. So, it just takes time to do that. So our students are not even going to be able to have an opportunity to look at that until summer school starts for those kiddos those that have enrolled in that continuous improvement. So then what we will do is we will get feedback from them at the end of summer. You know, what benefited you as a student? What did you struggle with? You know, the other thing that's really, I can talk about this forever, so stop me whenever. I know you guys really don't want to hear about this, but I dream about this in my sleep. But, you know, one of the other benefits is we've set the Canvas portal so that whether I'm a student, let's say I'm a virtual student, I'm taking 6 hours virtually. My math class looks exactly like my social studies class. Everything is in the same spot. The calendar's in the same spot. I find my assignments in the same spot. I know where my teacher email is. You know, that was one of the complaints we got over and over from the virtual is when Google Classroom, teachers can set those up their own way, which is great. But, you know, it's hard for people to find things. But because this is something we're developing, we've been able to kind of lock that in so that it's consistent across all subject matters.
Sounds like you have listened to the kids and have their student voice, so great job. Thank you.
And I just want to thank you again, Tammy, Robin, Luke, and everybody else who's worked on this. This is like one of those visions that has finally come to reality. And you know that quote that says, a vision without execution is just a hallucination. So you guys have executed it to the T, and I am just so proud of all of you for making it happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy, what are a couple of you said there are 7. Can you name a couple of them that will be offered for summer school?
Yes, we have Algebra 1, Semester 1, Algebra 2, Semester 1, I believe Art, Personal Finance, Nutrition and Wellness.
Spanish.
And Spanish. What am I missing? I think that's, yep.
Okay. I know it was a lot of work. It's really exciting.
It's the teachers that are doing the work. We're just helping them along. It's not us, but thank you.
Have you had plenty of people volunteer to work on this?
Yeah, you ask Robin. I had nightmares that we're going to open this up and no teachers are going to. I told Dr. Patel, I'm like, what are we going to do when we open this up and no teacher wants to write a course? Robin and I have 164 courses to write, and literally we had teachers within hours applying because that is how dedicated and how much our teachers are like, we got to do something. And what better students to help than our own students, right? So they jumped right on board.
Any other questions? Okay, we need a motion to, well.
Carol made a motion.
The consent agenda.
Did you want to say anything?
Nope, just the Canvas pay rates,
right.
hires, stipends, modifications, and separations.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Okay, consent agenda carries, and we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion?
All in favor?
Yes.
And closed.